Welcome to Memory and Concentration. This is a study skills workshop in case you believe you have a poor memory or you don't know how to concentrate. They are both skills. If you improve your memory and your concentration, these skills will benefit you your entire life, plus well into your senior years, so you're not going to have to worry about forgetting things like many seniors do. This is put on by the Writing, Reading, and Speech Assistance area in the Learning Commons of the College of DuPage. If you want more help, drop in any of those hours or give us a call. We'll start with memory. Do you know what memory is? Or do you just know that you don't have it? Well, everything is in your brain. It is stored there from your birth and maybe even a little before that until today. But the problem with pulling any information out of that is that it's simply a room full of single sheets of paper tossed in from a doorway and spread all over everything with no organization whatever. That's why you can't retrieve anything out of your memory on demand. So you want to first understand that memory, good memory, is the retrieval of information that you want as you need it. And then the good news is memory management is a skill. You can learn to do better. All it takes is a little practice. Now, there are a few reasons why we forget things. And the first one is different cues or clues. For instance, I have several friends who try to drive places, and if it's fall instead of spring, the trees are different colors and they cannot find the house that they need to meet at. And it's kind of incredible, but your brain works like that. So the next thing that would be a problem if you can't control clues or cues or remember what's going on is underlearning. Obviously, the poor friends of mine did not learn the route as going down roads and left turning or anything. They just looked at colors or other visual stimulus and tried to wing it that way, and it didn't always work. Another problem with having a good memory is distraction while you are attempting to keep it in your memory. You'll have to control all the distractions that you can. And the final one, and most important to your class studies at the college, is the lack of an organized memory method. That is very important. Anything organized is going to help you be organized. And if it's your memory you're organizing, that kind of goes right with our first point there, the retrieval of information. You have to know where it's stored. Remember, we forget because we haven't learned it properly. There are distractions while we're trying to learn or memorize. And we do not have an organized study system. A study system is any orderly process of manipulating and organizing information you expect to remember. There are 4 steps. You must gather the information. You read, you listen in the lecture class, read your textbook, whatever is necessary to get the information. That's in a classroom. Otherwise, gather information however is convenient for other things that you have to learn. Then you've got to truly learn that information. You have to connect it to something you already know. You've got to review it a few times, condense it into keywords or signal words or clues or cues, and then you create new memories. And you've got to make sure that you've mastered that information by testing yourself occasionally. In the classroom, that would be self-tests by making up your own quizzes, or if you're very lucky, there are quizzes at the end of chapters. Take them. And then review your information regularly and as often as necessary for you to remember it. If it's something you have to learn and keep in mind for only a week, well, review it in a few minutes, review it after 20 minutes, review it once a day, and then maybe once a week, and then you can forget it if you wish. The second memory method is keywords. Now, the study system is good for classes. Keywords would be good for memorizing new vocabulary in Spanish class or French or anatomy and physiology. There's a lot of different vocabularies you may need to learn. And that is the best method for keywords. But the keyword method also breaks down into a whole lot of other little systems or tricks that you can use. And we'll go into one of those, or you can look at this website. if you look at the website, this is what you're going to notice. And it shows 6 or more actual sub-methods, but the 3 here are very useful for almost everything you probably will need to remember. And if you notice, they're good for separate and different things. Keyword is powerful for memorizing definitions and foreign vocabulary. And then the link, of course, is for memorizing any reading material. Works really well for class textbooks. And then the PEG method is fun to practice with. So if you're just getting new to this, go ahead and practice with the PEG method. And it's very clear. I've looked at this website, and you'll be able to work with it no problem. And if you have trouble, come on into the writing, reading, and speech assistance area. Okay, memory method 3. I'm calling this a method because linking can be used for everything and anything, and it's not necessarily in any specific order, but you are very engaged with your mind in this type of memory system, and that's good for practice for sure. And there are lots of options for just linking. Let's take a look. And here's a shot of the website so that you're familiar with it when you find it. Linking is probably the most pervasive method for memory. It's pretty much an associative method, and you can memorize anything. It's worth looking into. They're not all hard, and the thing is with this memory, which method you like best, is go ahead and try 2 or 3. Really give it a couple months maybe, or a month for each, and see how it works for you in your life and your classes. And then you'll have it for life. So it's not going to be wasted time. You'll know when it resonates with you. And the next fun memory method, number 4, is mnemonics. Now this is where you get to be really creative and play. Gimmicks and tricks are mnemonics. They're good for one-offs, unique situations, very specific. Once you use it, you're going to have it forever, but it's not going to be good for anything else. But they are a whole lot of fun once you're successful. There are many, many little gimmicks and tricks. The ones most familiar are acronyms. And a couple of examples. Once you see the examples, you're going to know. Scooba, for instance. It stands for real words. It's not just scuba gear. It's self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. And how about CD-ROMs? Hey, now we just let that roll right off our tongues, but it means compact disc read-only memory. And GPA. Okay, you don't even need me to talk about that one, right? Okay, another little gimmick, acrostics, and this is where you actually make a sentence out of the first letter of the list of things you have to memorize. Okay, let's check it out. Here's one example. Every good boy deserves fudge. Anybody remember that from grade school? It's the lines of the treble music staff, E, G, B, D, F. And as you can see, each letter stands for one word in your memory sentence. Every good boy deserves fudge. Next one. My very excellent mom just served us 9 pizzas. Anybody remember that? You ought to. It comes from grade school when you were learning the planets of the solar system from the sun on out into deep space. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto in those days. And Pluto's coming back, so take heart. But you can see the same thing. First letter makes the word of each of the words in that sentence that you will have memorized, because it's just so darn silly. And the sillier the better for your memory. Okay, let's move on. Rhymes would be the last one. This is just rollicking good fun. There are some pretty good chestnuts from childhood. Remember this? In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It rhymes. And here's a good one. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except February alone, which has but 28 days clear and 29 in leap year. It's a long one, but you'll find you remember it good enough to know all the days of the months. Okay, so to review memory, you have to structure the information you need to remember. Make order of it. Make connections to things you already know. Make associations to other things like link keywords, whatever, to help you remember. There's relate the information to what you already know. You know plenty. If you have a tune in mind that's always running through your head, use that for one of your mnemonic tricks. Not a problem. And then if it's textbook information or class information, you must understand and learn it thoroughly. You've got to read the chapters, listen to the lectures, summarize all of that information, outline it, test yourself on your memory of it before you start to memorize. And you have to involve more than one sense to really get it firmly in your memory. If you can speak it out loud and have your ears hear it, it's in a second section of your brain that will help you remember. And if you write it out, that is your hand moving. You've got kinetic memory. Your muscles are remembering it, as well as your eyes. Anything that you can do. And then, if it's something you're going to need to know for life or for a test at the end of the term, like a comprehensive exam, review it often and regularly for as long as necessary. Some things like your phone numbers and your social security numbers, you probably rip those off often enough, like maybe once a week, once a month, that they are always in your memory. Now we're going to move on to the other bit that's often a problem for students and people, concentration. How many people believe they don't concentrate very well or they have no concentration? Truly you don't. Concentration is a skill. Naturally, all of us, even adults, probably have a concentration length time of about 10 minutes, which is not much more than a 10-year-old child. So we kind of stall dead. But concentration is focusing on only one activity. That's it. Now you're kind of getting a clue why you don't have good concentration, right? Are you a multitasker? Do you try to do too many things at one time? That'll do it. And concentration is the habit of focus. Once you get in the habit of always focusing on whatever task you're in the moment, you will have great concentration. Now, here's the good news. Concentration is a habit and a skill, and with practice, you will get better. Here's some concentration tips. We'll go over these in more detail. But first, you have to choose a non-distracting area to begin concentrating. Work with your nature. Do not allow yourself a lot of distractions to happen. I mean, for heaven's sake, get to a place that's fairly quiet, that's fairly clear. You don't want children running in and out. You don't want the TV playing. Some people can't even tolerate music in the background. Some like it, but you'll have to figure that out. And then the next thing is prepare to concentrate. Whatever task you're wanting to work on, get your pencils, erasers, paper, books, notebooks, other notes, whatever you think you're going to need. Have it all handy. You don't want to be distracting yourself by having to get up and find something. And thirdly, intend to concentrate. We are raised taking orders from authority, moms and dads, teachers. You're used to this. So start to tell yourself that you're going to concentrate on this one task. You'll be amazed at what kind of a difference it will make to your success. And then definitely allow for breaks. You're human. You cannot concentrate for longer than 50 minutes, even good ones. So schedule, if you're a newbie, maybe 10 minutes of focus on a task and then schedule a 10-minute break or whatever you think you're going to need. And do that scheduling and just stretch out your focus time a little longer every day. And the next tip, set specific goals for all of these items: time, activity, what subject you're going to be focusing on, and your breaks. You cannot just take a break. You've got to schedule your break for 10 or 15 minutes, whatever is good for you. You've got to set a specific 20 minutes to write my essay for English class. Then I get a 5-minute break. That's exactly specific goals for all of the time, activities, subject, and breaks. And then when you're done with that, move to a different activity or subject. And of course, keep a distraction list. Distractions will happen. Even if you have a soundproof room, your mind will wander. Write it down on your distraction list and then put it out of your mind. Get back to focusing on your task. When your break comes, then you go ahead and take care of all your distractions to your heart's content for your 10-minute break. Now, specifically, I have a lot of people wonder, well, how does this apply to classroom? Okay, in class, whether it's a lecture or you're just in a small group, you go ahead and make sure that you are listening. And while the teacher takes a little break, anticipate what the next point might be. And then maybe if your teacher turns around to write on the board, you go ahead and summarize what you've already noticed the teacher talking about. Can you start organizing it into main points and subpoints? And then if the teacher has a minute where they've got to find their place in the notes or they're taking questions and nobody's responding, you go ahead and review everything that's been going on. The mouth runs way slower than your mind, so no matter what that teacher is lecturing on, your brain can run 5 times faster at least. So you will have time for all of these things in between just little second-long breaks. A concentration review. Control any interference during your sessions. Direct yourself to concentrate for specific time and subjects. Those are specific goals. And then you can measure success. List distractions. Always have a distraction list. Deal with them at break time. Don't allow yourself to get redirected from your focused task. And once that task is done, don't sit on your laurels. Set new goals. And of course, repeat as often as necessary to cover all the homework you might have. Thank you for your attention. And remember, if you need more help or more clarification, do come into the Writing, Reading, and Speech Assistance area at the Learning Commons in College of DuPage.